Hey, hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this Azure DevOps tutorial series, today let's discuss about how to troubleshoot a long running Azure pipeline. Alright, this is one of the very common issues that every DevOps engineer face on day-to-day life. Okay, so you might be stuck with a long running pipeline. You might be put in a situation where you have to troubleshoot a frequently failing pipeline, or you want to improve the performance of a pipeline. All right, so in these kind of situations, this particular video might be helpful for you. In addition to that, this is one of the most frequently asked interview question as well. Okay, when you go to an interview, interviewer will usually ask, how do you troubleshoot a long running pipeline, or how do you actually optimize the pipeline, or how do you improve the performance of a pipeline. So these kind of questions might come up. So in order to face that, I have listed down few pointers which I thought might be beneficial to you. Disclaimer is there are a number of steps, but these are the few pointers which I thought might be very useful at a higher level. All right, so let's see one by one, and let's see all the pointers one by one and try to understand the frequently asked, the frequently facing issues, and how do you actually fix it. Right, so starting with, first we have to identify the bottleneck. Right, so how do we actually identify if there is a problem? First thing what we do is we go to a pipeline logs. Right, so we go to a pipeline logs. So if I go to any pipelines, let me pick any pipeline. So first thing what you do is you go to a pipeline log and verify if the pipeline, what's problem. All right, so you can easily identify at what step the pipeline is taking more time, and if your logs is not enough, right, so you can actually enable a system diagnostics. Like you can, in a YAML pipeline, there is something called system.debug equal to true. You can enable that option, or even you can when you try to run, there's a enable system diagnostic option. Right, so when you enable this, you will get more detailed logs as well. So this way you can actually identify which is causing more issues. Okay, so that's first step you will generally do. Okay, so you will enable detailed logs or enable system diagnostic and try to identify which step is taking too long. Are there any loops or any recursive calls inside your pipeline? These kind of things you will take into consideration. So this is the first step you will do. Next, what you can do is you can also use a pipeline timeline view. So if you go to any pipeline, right, so if you go to any pipeline run, once you click on a run, all right, so let me click on a run. So here you can see when did the pipeline start and how long did the pipeline run, those kind of information you can see. And here also at the job levels you can go and verify at each task level how long did it take. Okay, this run for 11 seconds, this for 1 second, 3 seconds. So this kind of high level timeline view you can verify and identify which step or which task is actually taking more time. All right, so in a few pipelines there will be multiple stages under. So if I take any pipeline which has some stages, okay, right, so you can see we have multiple stages here. So here this particular stage took for 24 seconds, 23 seconds. So this way you can actually identify which stage or which job is actually taking more longer to run. Okay, so this is the second thing an engineer will usually do. All right, and if you need more information also, if you don't need an immediate fix, or if you want to see the trend of the pipeline in the past, so you can use this analytics view. If you go to this analytics view, you can see all the analytics here, like what is the pipeline pass rate, test pass rate, how long did the pipeline run. So this kind of information you can see. Let me pick any pipeline. Let me go to the analytics view. Okay, so you can see the pipeline pass rate is 100. I have made only one run, so it is 100. But in real time, this might vary. All right, and if you run any tests, you can see the test pass rate here. And what is the pipeline duration? You can verify. If I view the full report here, you can see the detailed view, right? So each and every step, how much it takes, how much it took, so those kind of information you can see. So if you look at this particular task, right, this took actually this is a default checkout task. Okay, so how long did the checkout task you can identify here. The checkout task took about like 4.5 seconds. So each and every individual details at the granular level you can identify and see how long it actually took. Okay, so so it is differentiated by color coding, right? So how long does it take to initialize job, how long does it took to run a PowerShell script. So this kind of information you can view at the analytics view also. All right, and then what you can see is, yeah, you can see if there are any infinite loops or stuck scripts. Okay, sometimes you might your script might have a while loop or a for loop, okay, which never terminate. So in those kind of situations also your pipeline can run a longer run. Okay, this is more of a code level issue, so this is something also you can take a look at. All right, and then you can look at few long running unit or integration tests. Okay, so you can also identify if tests are taking more time or not. So in those kind of situations, what you can do is you can add so in case if you feel that your test is taking more time to run, you can actually add a timeout to make the pipeline fail after a few minutes or few hours according to the situation. And also you can run the tests in parallel. Okay, so running the tests in parallel also might reduce the timeline of the Azure pipeline. Okay, and moving on, next we have something called agent unavailability or slowness. Okay, so ensure that machine hasn't gone idle or lost its connectivity. Okay, so you can check the machine's CPU performance, CPU or memory, or you can try using a different agent pool or a queue in those kind of situations when agent is creating a problem for you. Okay, this is also something very frequently faced issue, so probably you can look at this particular agent level issues as well. And then you can see if there are any large file operations or download. Okay, you can, in those kind of situations, what you can do is you can cache the dependencies or avoid unnecessary file operations. So as the name indicates, there is a concept called cache. There is a task in Azure YAML called cache2, which will actually help you to regain or cache the files, which will take only less memory and it will be very quicker. Okay, so cache is a topic which we haven't discussed until now, but I will try to cover a separate video for that. But cache, you imagine like a usual regular browser cache, it will store all the information back to you, so that you don't have to frequently download each and everything every time. All right, so you can cache the dependencies in Azure DevOps pipeline. This is one of the most effective ways to significantly reduce build timelines, especially when your project relies on external packages like npm, pip, NuGet, Gradle, etc. Okay, so in those kind of situations, your cache task might be very much helpful. And next one is you waiting for a manual approval. Okay, there might be situation your pipeline might be correct, but it might be stuck because it might be still waiting for an approval. Even I remember I had a pipeline which was looking for approval for longer time. Let me show that real-time instance. Okay, so if I go here, you can see, let me open this. Okay, so see, this one actually needs approval to the environment. Okay, so what happens is you can see this stuck for last 14 days almost. So for almost 14 days or almost for past 17 days, this is waiting for the approval. Okay, so only if the approval is provided, the pipeline might run. Okay, so this is also another frequently faced issue where people might be wondering what is the problem with that pipeline, and end of the day they actually realize it is still waiting for a approval. So this is a very easier step but an important one. all right. So in real time you will be waiting for an approval for a deployment or to a production environment. So those kind of situations you might face in real time, all right. And final one is like there is a timeout option, okay, in the Azure pipeline. You can actually add the timeout as well. This is an optional one, but it is not a recommended. But in case if you feel that your pipeline might run for a long time and your resource might be unwantedly utilized, those kind of situation, you can terminate the pipeline after some time, so that this is the resources are actually effectively used, all right. So this is something you can keep in mind whenever you are working with Azure pipeline, all right. In addition to this, okay, these are more frequently faced issues, and I showed you how do you identify and how do you fix it, all right. So there are few other points too, okay, which will actually help you to improve the performance of your Azure pipeline. This is also one of the most widely asked interview questions, all right. So let's see all these steps one by one. First thing what you can do is you can parallelize the jobs and stages, okay. So there is an what you can do is you can split the large stages into smaller ones, okay. So there is a parameter in YAML that is depends on. We have discussed about depends on in our previous videos, all right. So when you use the depends on, what you can do is once your stage 1 is completed, you can run your stage 2. So in my stage 2 I will my stage 2 will run only when stage 1 is completed, okay. This way you can split multiple stages into smaller ones, which will effectively run your pipeline in a quicker manner, okay. So by parallelizing this, parallelizing the jobs and stages will improve the performance of your pipeline, all right. And next one is you can use the hosted agents wisely. We have discussed about Azure hosted agents and self-hosted agents and all, okay. Some hosted agents have very faster performance. For example, Windows 22 might be very faster than Ubuntu 18.04 for .NET and all, okay. In these kind of situations, you need to use the host agents very wisely, okay. For in some situations, even self-hosted agents might be better for caching, and it gives you more control, okay. So you can look at the agent and use it very wisely, all right. And next one is you can avoid the unnecessary steps, okay. You don't run tests or builds if the files are changed, okay. So it's just a it's just not use, right? So what's the use when you want to run the tests or builds again and again if something has not changed? So in those kind of situations, you can avoid the unnecessary steps, okay. There is a condition option in YAML, okay. When you use that condition parameter, you can skip the unnecessary tests or tasks that you don't want to run unless and until something has changed, okay. So these kind of techniques you can employ in your Azure pipeline. And the next key thing is optimizing the tests, okay. So optimizing tests is one of the most important whenever you are working on some test related activities in Azure DevOps, especially for QA people. This step might be very much useful, okay. You can use test impact analysis to only run affected tests, okay. And also you can split and run the tests in parallel. This way you can effectively utilize your Azure resources, and in turn your Azure pipeline might run fast, okay. So this is something you can keep in mind. And next one is artifact optimization, okay. This reduces the number and size of artifacts, and it also compresses the large artifacts before uploading. There is a compress option which we will discuss in detail about it in our upcoming videos. But imagine compressing a large file, okay. Similarly, you can compress an artifact, which might be very much effective whenever you are working with Azure pipeline. And another one important thing is you can reuse the template, okay, which will minimize your YAML, okay. You can keep pipeline YAML very clean and dry by extracting the repetitive code into templates. Okay, by creating templates instead of just using the repetitive code, this will speed up the performance of your Azure pipeline, and in turn it is also very useful for maintenance and parsing as well. So that's why this particular step is also important. We have discussed about templates, how includes templates, extends templates in detail in our previous videos, so you can have a look at this if you need more information. All right, and then we have something called use pipeline artifacts instead of file copy. Okay, so whenever you are doing deployments, right, I have seen many people use file copy to copy all the files from one place to another, okay, from your source to target. So in those kind of situation, you can use something called a pipeline artifacts. Okay, we can use publish pipeline artifact task in YAML instead of publish build artifacts, because in general it is very faster and optimized for best performance of your Azure pipeline. Okay, that's why this one is this step is quite important whenever you are working with deployment or some file copying related activities in your YAML pipeline. All right, and finally we have something called pruning the unused dependencies. Pruning means cutting or cleaning of unused stuffs. All right, so especially for larger projects, okay, especially with projects which involves npm, pip, NuGet related packages, you can prune the unused dependencies, which will actually reduce the installation time or build time in your Azure pipeline. All right, so this step is also very much important, but this is not widely used, but I would definitely recommend people to start using this. So there is an option called npm prune. Okay, there are also a few other tools also available to be integrated with Azure pipeline, which you can use for larger project, which might be very beneficial for your pipelines, especially when you are working with packages like npm, pip and NuGet. All right, so this is also one of the very important points. Okay, so yeah, these are the key pointers which you might face day to day in your Azure pipeline, and few important tips and tricks to improve the performance of your Azure pipeline. All right, so in case if you feel if I have missed any or if I missed something very much important, you can let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, please subscribe and follow my channel. Thank you.